Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live, baby. Downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Kickoff coming up Thursday Night Football in about 2.5 hours, about 2 hours, 50 minutes from right now. We were talking college football in the previous hour, and we'll carry it over one more segment here with Brad Powers. Excellent follow on X. He's at Brad Powers 7, website bradpowersports.com, and he is on the Progressive Guest line. So, Oregon, Brad, they haven't exactly, looked like the third best team in the country, like everybody had them pegged at to begin the season. Struggled to come out with 2 wins. Easily could have lost to Boise State last week. And here we are now, no longer playing in the Pac-12. Their biggest rivalry game against Oregon State, the Civil War. The hatred here has been ramped up even more for this game, playing in Corvallis. Never easy for the Ducks, and they're taking money again up to 17 points as the favorite here. Do you agree with it?
I do not. So, the third straight week, Oregon's taking money. There's nothing that they've done in the first 2 games that gives me great confidence here that they'll blow out Oregon State. I guess the saving grace if you're betting Oregon is Oregon State isn't very explosive offensively. So if Oregon somehow can win the line of scrimmage, which they haven't so far this season, then I could see them getting margin. But this is one I'll wait. Bet Oregon State. I mean, Oregon State, to me, how Oregon State is playing, and I said this last week when they won 21-0, is it's very repeatable. They're just, playing bully ball, very simple run game, play action. Defense is better than expected. And if they have that a similar game plan and formula this week, and Oregon plays like they did the first 2 weeks, then Oregon State's live here.
Yep, I totally agree. And I've been very candid about this with Dan Lanning. You're allowed to punt and kick field goals. So that's I don't understand the mindset with some of this stuff too.
Are we sure he's that great?
I know. Well, look, you couldn't beat the Boar.
No, and he was favored in all those games. All
double
3
digit,
games he was favored.
Double digit
so
out here.
We'll see.
Sure, absolutely. How about the Apple Cup?
I bet Washington State in the summer, but obviously numbers matter. Information changes. Right now I would lean Washington. I don't think Washington's getting enough love. In fact, I would say that they're the box scores are much more impressive than the final scores the first 2 weeks. Now, they haven't played anybody. Washington State certainly has a better data point beating Texas Tech last week, although that was a little bit of a misleading final. They benefited from turnovers in that one. I mean, I like Mateer at quarterback, ran for almost 200 yards for Washington State. It'd be interesting to see how much they run him here. But, man, Washington looks fundamentally sound on both sides. I thought the line of scrimmage, that they'd struggle a little bit, and maybe they will when they play a better opponent this week, but right now, my numbers lean towards Washington.
BradPowersports.com on the Progressive Guest Line. Get his newsletter. Check out Bet the Board podcast as well. And follow him on X. Follow the Money, Pauly and Mitch VSiN. What games had the biggest disparity, and you didn't agree with your power ratings compared to what the numbers were?
I had quite a few this week. And usually, I'll make some tweaks as far as power ratings and market moves, but I'm going to let them ride. I guess the biggest one would be 2 of them, 2 of the bigger games at night. There was a big money move through 0. I mean, not that big of a move, but Central Florida being a favorite at TCU. I have it opposite. TCU favored by 2 in that one. So there's a little bit of an overlay there. Probably, another big one, Indiana. I don't have the Hoosiers are favored by 3. I have UCLA favored by 1. I'm not overreacting to Indiana beating a bottom 10 FBS team in FIU, and Western Illinois has lost 26 straight games. I know they put a 70 spot. I know UCLA struggled against Hawaii. I rewatched the game. I was impressed that they came back and won that game. Now they had a bye week to reset on a first-year coach. Malinsky used to talk about first-year coaches having that early bye week being more beneficial to a coach that's been there 5-6 years. You want the bye week, in the middle of the season. So I bet UCLA this week.
Okay, good point. What did you do, if anything at all, with Texas A&M playing at Florida, as the Gators have been taking money pretty much the entire time?
I haven't bet it yet. Obviously the A&M performance against Notre Dame didn't age well at all. You liked what you saw from DJ Lagway, although they're playing Samford. So, right. My goodness, Samford got beat the week before as a 3-touchdown favorite, so I'm not going to overreact to that one. It's one of those games, broken record. We'll learn what each one of these teams is going to be about this year with this one. So, and maybe not a sexy matchup nationally, but, man, I can get a lot better idea on a power rating after this game.
By the way, college football from start to finish on a Thursday all the way to the end of Saturday night, you got plenty of games to bet on. I can't imagine myself having a bet on either one of these programs right now. You're right. I mean, the Notre Dame performance for Texas A&M was completely ugly, and from Florida's standpoint, with what happened in Week 1, I'm going to pass completely. Too many other games to bet on.
Mm-hmm. I'm in a similar boat. You know me, I'm not afraid to make 30, 40, 50, 100 bets a week. I'm not betting side or total here. Weather could be an issue too.
Okay, how about Florida State, Memphis? So here we go, right? Off the bye, 0-2. In the summer, it was 17. Another book reopened the game 1. Now it's back up to 7. What do you think? And that's just what you talked about, though. UNLV, Boise, Texas State. What if Memphis wins this game?
Yeah, I mean, and in the American, you'd have to think the American gets the nod over the other conferences just because of strength of schedule, and this would be, regardless of how bad Florida State's going to be this year, that'd still be a good feather in their cap for Memphis. I think Florida State's a sharp side. I agree with the money. I don't have a bet, but the people I respect in this industry are on Florida State. I agree with it.
Are you going to wait and take the points with Colorado State? Interesting that Sanders threw his offensive line under the bus, too, after the loss to Nebraska.
I bet my numbers just to show that I'm not anti-Colorado. I laid it with Colorado. I don't think Colorado State's pass defense can play in space. But
okay.
I with that being said, I would rather Colorado lose the game outright for the win total.
For the win total bet?
Okay.
And I'll say this.
Yeah.
If they were to lose this game, It's over. I mean, it is what I perceived a possible dumpster fire comes true. It's very combustible. And by that, I mean, this is maybe a 2-10 type of team.
Ooh, I could see that. Excellent.
Yeah.
Help me out here. So this is so big with kids and letdowns and getting up and look-ahead games and everything. So Cal just shocked the world and won at Auburn. But they were +5 in the turnover battle. And now they got to win by 3 touchdowns to cover against San Diego State, who was embarrassed at home against the Beavers in Oregon State. Should Cal be laying 3 touchdowns?
No, I got made it 17. I should have gotten to the window, and I haven't yet because, man, San Diego State's offense leaves a lot to be desired. They're playing a freshman. He's prone to making mistakes. I do trust the Cal defensive staff, and they just showed that they can pounce on a guy as far as and creating some turnovers. So I certainly lead San Diego State. I haven't got to the window yet. I got another one for you. If you're talking the old inside-out handicap, Kansas +3 in turnovers. Illinois +3 in turnovers against Kansas, got a fortunate win. Central Michigan -6 in turnovers against FIU. 2 phony finals. Central Michigan for me +18.5.
All right. How about another possible letdown spot that Pauly just brought about? What about with Texas here? They go to Michigan, absolutely just destroy the Wolverines. Look like probably the second best team in the entire country. Now they're taking on a UTSA team that just had their doors blown off by Texas State.
Yeah, certainly like UTSA, although I haven't got to the game film yet. That's a pretty bad performance against Texas State, to say the least. That concerns me. It also concerns me when you throw Arch in there. You already saw it. They'll run an offense when Arch gets in there.
Yeah.
So that scares me as far as, lining up to play against Texas here.
You are big-time anti-Oklahoma and the quarterback. And you're right. They were lucky to get out of there with a win against Houston. And maybe Tulane blew that game against K-State. You're right. Would you make Oklahoma-Tulane? Did you do anything with that game?
My power ratings love Oklahoma here, but I haven't bet it yet because I'm still concerned with Oklahoma. If they play again like that this week, then I get super aggressive with their power rating and downgrade them significantly. I haven't yet because I still like their defense, and I'm waiting. I mean, I saw Jackson Arnold play a few times last year, and I was impressed, but again, everything I read in fall camp behind the scenes said he was horrific, and he hasn't done anything so far this season.
Okay. What do I do with Missouri they haven't played anybody. They haven't allowed a touchdown. And then here comes BC with a lot of points, and they run that slow tempo.
Yeah, correlation here. If you like BC, like the under, I agree with that correlation. I know no one likes Bill O'Brien. I think he's actually okay. I think he's an upgrade over what they had as head coach, and I have been impressed with some of their game plans. I was impressed that they didn't fall to a flat spot last week. They acted like grown men, took care of Duquesne. And speaking of grown men, what they have is an offensive line that's super experienced, and I think they can, control some clock here, and therefore anything above 14, I'm certainly leaning with BC.
Yeah. Brad, does your power ratings, like top 6, top 7, reflect the latest polls? First time ever, we have 6 teams from one conference in the top 7. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, it's close. I mean, certainly Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee looks super impressive. I would argue they look as impressive as any team, especially if their defensive front's going to play like that.
Would you have Georgia 1 now and Texas good enough to be number 2, or do you still have the Buckeyes number 2?
I got the Buckeyes too.
You do?
I've got to be honest. I bet Texas in the second half against Michigan. I didn't win that ticket. I wasn't happy with that performance. I wanted them to put the hammer down. They didn't.
All right. It's good.
You can follow Brad on X. He's at BradPower7, website BradPowerSports.com. He joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Enjoy the game tonight, the 2 tomorrow night, and the games all day on Saturday. Thanks so much for the time. Kill it this weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep, be
You're
good.
awesome.
There you go.
Yep.
Brad Powers with us.
Well, he got the garbage touchdown, but that was, Michigan did nothing in that game. This might be the worst card of the year, but there's still so many games going on.
Well, that's the beauty of college football.
I mean, that's why it's such a great sport.
Everybody can sit here and complain about the games overall. I'm just like, guys,
there's only 2 games where ranked opponents play one another.
That doesn't really even affect me at all.
Yeah, right, sure.
I think tonight's game and the 2 games tomorrow are fantastic.
Look what we had last weekend. You had like 7 late games.
Yeah, that's right.
On the West Coast.
That's right. I'm with him, by the way, on Oregon. What's going on here?
I know. He's right. Are we sure about Dan Lanning? That's a legitimate question.
They easily could have lost outright to Boise.
How about the Idaho debacle?
No, that's of course.
Come on.
Right? And now on the road where they don't play well at all, you think, narrative here, you think Oregon State how pissed off are they? Or we're not going to come with to the Big Ten? Screw you.
Yeah.
We already hated your guts. A little bit extra edge for the game this weekend, potentially. In-pocket plays coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're out.
Let's rock and roll. Huge game tonight. College and pro. Can't wait. As we mentioned earlier, over 3.5 made field goals, plus 130. That prop went 13-3. In week 1. Shakir over 39.5 receiving yards, $1.20. Will Hill, Caesars, DK, widely available. No defensive or special teams touchdown parlay. Let's make it 6-0 on the season. We're going to go with the game tonight, which is as low as minus 260. And we'll tie it to the Monday night game with the Eagles and the Falcons. And will the opening kickoff result in a touchback? Yes. Minus 150. That is minus 150 tonight. And boy, how things have changed again. Incredible. Chiefs-Ravens a week ago was plus 280. And now we are in the minus 150 range as things have changed with how teams are treating that and what's going to happen with opening touchbacks. And
that did not last long, my friend.
Nope. And then the next night, it went off plus 220. And then by Sunday, we were minus 120 with the early games.
Yeah, that's right.
And then now we're up to $1.55. Buckeyes to win the Big Ten. Ducks under 10.5. Packers to miss the playoffs. Seahawks laying 3 on Sunday against New England. Tigers to make the playoffs. 11-1 took a hit. They were a $3 favorite today. Scooble got beat, although he was good. Bullpen blew a 2-1 lead in the 7th. Diamondbacks to miss the playoffs. This is now 9-1. Took plus 475. They won last night, but it's a long ways to go here. And that Cubs schedule's easy, and the Mets, and who knows what happens to the Braves? Who knows what happens here? All right, so a ton of pending as well. Good luck out there, everyone.
Long ways to go when so many teams are super tight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Loser with the K-prop on Brandon Williamson yesterday. Under 3.5 plus 110. No good. Did mention on the show, bet it before the game was starting yesterday as well. Had this Tigers with the run line plus 110. They had 3 runs across and a couple of guys on when the show ended. And I'm like, please give me like 6 here to make this one easy. They scored 6 in the first. And then they're cruising along at 7-1. And then, 7-4. I'm like, all right, don't tell me I'm going to lose this game. So it came in. That was a winner. Bets that I've added for tonight. Some anytime touchdown numbers. Jeff Wilson, anytime, plus 145. I know that's probably switched a little bit here.
Get it.
Throughout the duration of the show. I'd still bet it down to like plus 120 in that neighborhood if it's around.
I've never seen Brad Powers that animated when you threw this number at him.
Oh, this was, Was it off the air?
No, this was on the air.
Was it on the air? All right. Cam Scatterbo tonight for Arizona State. I bet 100.5 over rushing yards on him, minus 108. He's coming off of 262 yards. Now, I get it. That was Saturday night at home against Mississippi State, and now they're playing Thursday night on the road, so that's a quick turnaround and a lot of potential damage done to the body. He looked outstanding. And as Brad said, if you like a typical, like old school throwback kind of running back, check this kid out. Loved what I saw from him. So he has to barely break the century mark tonight. And as he pointed out, he doesn't like the passing game with Arizona State. Okay.
Yeah, that kid can run though. So that he's right. He's not much of a passer, but I like Levitt over to do some damage. They're averaging 300 yards a game on the ground.
I know.
They are old school football. I mean, it's like Slapshot with the Hanson brothers. Put the foil on.
That right?
I mean, this is what I love it, and I think I like these same game parlays, where he gets his. The quarterback has a rushing touchdown. He has a rushing touchdown. The quarterback throws. I mean, that thing's like, and then they win the game. That's like 24-1.
The first book I looked at for Scatterboo to score a touchdown tonight, he was minus 275. So I'm not playing that. I'll just hopefully he'll get to 100 yards here, 101 at least. So 2 more bets in the NFL game. I'm going to go Kincaid anytime touchdown plus 215. I played it a little bit more at 2 to 1 as well. He's going to be using the passing game tonight. He ran a ton of routes in week 1 despite not getting many catches at all. I think that'll reappear tonight for him. He's clearly the tight end, number 1 there in Buffalo. And then I'm going to go Shakir 50 plus at plus 138 available as we speak for him. Again, another guy in the Buffalo passing game.
Love football season. Never been a better time to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Make it your best season ever. Every best bet, every host, every guest, and the leaderboard. To see who has the hot hand, the betting splits, the Steve Makinen betting systems, college and pro, gold, 24/7 video access. Watch, listen, wherever you go. Alexa, VSIN. Everything we want, everything you need. Through the Super Bowl for $175, or the monthly subscription for just $9.99. VSiN Pro, your ticket to a winning season. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now. VSiN.com/subscribe. The Arizona State is that's 10-1. The one I was talking about, 24-1, is Bills cover. Allen 2 touchdowns. Coleman 5 catches. Cook 30 yards receiving. That's 24-1.
Okay. All right.
And we played Allen touchdown, 50 yards rushing. Hill touchdown. Hill 70 yards rushing, which is 10-1. There's a lot of great stuff out there. But the tough one is, I think it will be Shakir. But what happens with these other Buffalo wide receivers and tight ends? I mean, 9 guys had a catch last week. Mm-hmm. So what is he? Who's going to go off and who? Maybe just mixes it up. I mean, spreads it around, and every guy has 30, 40, 45 yards every game.
Will that continue with Allen? He has 5 consecutive 300-plus passing yard games against Miami. That's very difficult to pull off. And yet here we are.
Yeah, game flow's big tonight. Does Miami get off to an early lead? You know, is it tight? Is it like the game in Week 18, 21-14? You know, is it a lot of Cook? I don't know.
How about some of these, by the way, the movement this week in the NFL? Man, the Ravens down to 8 against the Raiders. They were all the way up to 10. Buyback on Las Vegas. The Chargers are now down to 5 at some spots on the road against Carolina. Panthers money again this week.
I was hoping for 7. Well, no way.
When will people learn? When will the market adjust and say, there was a year when I was screaming on the air, stop, I don't care what your numbers say, stop betting the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
They lost every game and they couldn't cover.
Yeah, they're taking money every week.
And every game was a huge point spread, but sharp money was like, well, my numbers say I got to grab it. And they did, and they paid the price every single time. And then how about this? People are even, they bet the number all the way down to 2.5 now. The Colts. I bet some Packers plus 3.5 because I thought it was too big of an adjustment, but now the Colts are down to 2.5 in this game.
Is it? It's 2.5 in the contest here, isn't it?
Now, how is that possible?
That? Oh, it's a bad beat. I know. That one, that's surprising. I want to confirm that, but I believe it is.
I'll give you some more here.
Tough. By the way, here at Circa, Allen 300 yards passing is plus 370.
Plus 370, 5 straight games he's done that.
Yep.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. It's 2.5 here in the contest.
It is.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. All right, well, definitely going to be a stay away on the Packers side for me. So the Niners are down to 5 at DraftKings. They're down to 5 at Caesars. They're down to 5 at BetOnline, some other spots as well. This was, as high as 6.5? 49ers now coming off of a Monday night home win, traveling to Minnesota, a spot where they lost last year, and Kirk Cousins looked great. Cousins no longer there. Sam Darnold looked good in week 1.
The Niners have been great early in the season, other than when they lost in that monsoon at Chicago. But you had Darnold on the team last year. Figure they know how to shut him down. And he's down some weapons. Does the defense show up like they did against the Jets? Big thing there was also the Jets never had the ball. But have you changed your mind on the Rams game?
Well,
could be down 4 offensive linemen, even though McVay has owned Arizona.
The answer would be yes. Because this was going to be, and maybe Arizona will get in that spot again to where they're a 1.5 or 2-point favorites. They appear to be 1 pretty much everywhere. My thought was going to be Rams on a teaser up to 7.5 or 8 automatically, but if they're going to be down 4 offensive linemen, which is a possibility at this point, do you feel comfortable making that bet? I mean, maybe
Arizona's defense is just that bad.
Oh,
but that's...
and maybe McVay and crew can come up with a good enough game plan and patch it together and make it work. But that's a lot. That's the cluster injury that you talk about.
Yeah, sorry, but if there's someone's going to do it, it's McVay though, and just bam, use Stafford's rocket arm and get rid of it, quick release, and we'll just couple have 18 targets.
How about the Bengals down to like 5 at some spots?
Yeah, I can't get there. Chiefs extra rest. They can't stand the Bengals. All that crap with the Burrow head and no way. Stick it to them. Down. What's going on with Chase? No Higgins?
Well, if Higgins can't play again?
Nah, come on. The wrist, that's something. That is a big deal.
Flexing the wrist?
There's something going on there.
You never do that? You never flex the wrist? He
didn't play well, number one, and I think it's an issue.
I know people are buying on total regression here. And Chiefs, fortunate to win the game against the Ravens, but I will say the Bengals are going to be good and probably a factor if they can get all these guys back and be healthy for a majority of the year. Maybe not this week.
Okay, more on this tomorrow. But again, I'll own it if I'm wrong. Just take Jacksonville. This is getting ugly. There's video.
Yeah.
There's witnesses and video with the sexual assault against Watson. The gal's got an attorney.
We'll get best bets on the huge UFC 306 card at the Sphere here in Las Vegas with Lou Finocchiaro coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have you on board today. Heavy football, but there's also another really cool event going on this weekend, and our next guest loves giving out underdogs, and he's very good at it. Lou Finocchiaro joins the program now on the Progressive Guest Line, and you can follow him on X. He is at GamLou. Podcast is called Bout Business, and he's dynamite on the UFC. Lou, good to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I love the new segment time. It's working great. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And thanks for making some time for UFC in the middle of a crowded football season.
And I mean, the fact that it's this time of year might be a little unfortunate because it's at the Sphere here in Las Vegas, which is like the ultimate concert venue. I think it'll play well for the UFC as well. We'll see on Saturday night. But let's begin with the main event. Sugar Sean is laying $1.45 in that neighborhood in the main event. Is that about the right number in your opinion?
Well, when this opened months ago, it was Merab Dvalishvili that was minus 145-ish or so. So Merab opens the favorite, and in the course of the last couple of months, a slow erosion of money came in towards O'Malley. And now as we get closer to the fight, the money is ramping up, and by Saturday, there'll be a tsunami of money on O'Malley. And so I think the price does continue to creep up, especially fight day. And so if you're an O'Malley fan, you should be not resting around, waiting around any longer. You ought to nail him. Get him when you can. You probably should have got him weeks ago. And if you're a Dvalishvili fan, you need to wait because I think you can get better than the plus 115-ish that we're seeing currently.
Walk me through this now. Is he going to stand up and try to knock him out and then or take what's the style of fight here where O'Malley wants to stand and the opponent wants to take him on the ground?
That's clearly what it is. What we have in Merab is a sawed-off chain wrestling Dagestani. His strength is cardio, toughness, and unrelenting forward ability. And so he's going to try and tackle Sean, take him down. When Sean gets up, he's going to do it again. And he's going to try and do that 30 times. And he has the cardio to be able to do it. His hope is that over time, Sean will run out of gas. Meanwhile, O'Malley needs to use his unusual length and size. He's tall, and he's really huge for the division. We got to watch his cut as well. He'll probably make the weight, no problem, but he'll be the much larger man in the cage, and it's a big cage in the sphere, so he'll have more room to operate. As we watch this fight, if it takes place on the ground, Merab will be winning. If it takes place on the feet, it'll be O'Malley using athleticism, distance to try and touch Merab up on the way in, and there is the cat and mouse. Can Merab get him against the corner of the cage and to the floor and tire him out, or will O'Malley be able to work free and pick Merab apart from distance? Should be fascinating fight. The total 4.5, very interesting, would lean. I do think there's a correlation that the longer this fight goes, the more Merab might be able to sap a little of the strength from O'Malley, and I think O'Malley wants to get it done early. It's not his propensity to. He doesn't have one-shot power. He does most of his work from accumulation, not one strike.
Okay, let's go to the gals. Grasso, $1.30 to beat Shevchenko. What do you think with the favorite?
Yeah, this one opened a little closer to pick. There's been a little money on the young Mexican champion, Grasso. I buy into that. There was a time when Shevchenko was the GOAT in women's MMA, according to me anyway. But that was about 3 or 4 years ago, before this Grasso trilogy started. This will be the third fight Saturday night. Grasso is unbelievably powerful and a slick boxer. She's a typical Mexican fighter, tough as she can be, forward moving, great boxing, very slick, good power, and she can wrestle. Shevchenko, very, very world class, and has fought against the elite in 2 different divisions, and she's been there and done that. But she's 36. She's taken private planes. She dresses in designer clothes, and the corrodance of money really affect fighters. The age difference is huge here. I like Grasso.
How about Torres by finish? Walk us through that and what it pays.
This is an undercard fight, and it's lightweights, 155-pounders. Chilean Ignacio Bahamondes comes in, got a little more experience. He's real long and tall, kind of like O'Malley, only in a bigger weight division. And sometimes these big guys do that because they kind of want to be a bully and be the bigger guy. Well, he's fighting this Mexican, Manuel Torres, who is a complete finisher. The guy can't get to the second round because he submits or knocks out his opponents. That's what he's going to try and do here. So I do think that Torres is going to come right after Bahamondes, and I think that you have a great opportunity for a finish in this fight. It's line Torres minus 120, but I know the Bahamondes camp is going to try and survive and do whatever they can do to get this into the second round. I think Torres is going to be up for this. I'm not willing to take Torres specific, either via KO or submission, because he can do both. So I'm just going to take him minus the 120 or 125, wherever he happens to be sitting right now.
All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Lou Finocchiaro is our guest. He's on X at GamLou, and the podcast is called Bout Business on the Progressive Guest Line here. Another matchup, Irene Aldana and Norma Dumont, right around to pick 'em. And by the way, the round prop is 2.5. Minus 420-ish to go over. So you don't want to bet either one of those numbers, right? But you want to get a little bit unique here and creative with what you want to do. And you're looking at betting Aldana?
They're telling me it's going over 2.5
Yes, they
with
are.
a minus 420 sitting there. I don't have to be a rocket scientist, which is a good thing because I'm not. But when these two girls fight, I'm going to have the Mexican Aldana that's a longer, taller, but a year or two older, but a really great striker. The Mexicans usually start with a boxing base and fill in around it. Same with Aldana. She's fighting a Brazilian. The Brazilian athlete is going to come in and try and get her to the ground. And so there's the dog fight there. Can Aldana keep it up and keep it striking? And I think she can. And with the Noche theme and the fight in Vegas and the crowd filled with Hispanics and more specifically with Mexicans, I think Aldana has a chance to win a one-sided decision in here. And so rather than take her at a pick, why not try and grab her plus 180?
How about Uncle Lou, the buffoonery, though, with the judges? And how many times you see 30-27 both ways? Does that concern you with these judges?
It doesn't, because I believe the judges are as weak as you insinuate, but they'll be drifting or at least swayed by the crowd that's Mexican in flavor.
All right, even better, even better. How about Chires plus 190?
Here's a big dog early in the card, couple of flyweight guys. Now, this would be like two flies fighting in a barrel because these guys are tiny. But the issue with his opponent, Joshua Van, is yes, Van has packed a lot of fights in a very short amount of time. He's not as experienced, but he's more well-rounded. However, 2 months ago, Van came off just a terrible decimating KO loss. And so 2 months later, they rush him back against a Mexican striker on Noche night that's going to be fighting in front of his whole crowd. Now, Van has the wrestling, and if he wrestles him up, he can win. But I like Chires here because we're going to get his best effort, and he's got those slick Mexican boxing hands.
There you go. Right. Plus 190, Aldana unanimous decision, plus 180, Grasso minus 130, Torres by finish as well. Are you like the dude? Lebowski? Oh, man, not the Eagles. Are you going to come out for the Eagles at the Spear? Are you an Eagles fan?
Yeah, I do. I'm a huge Joe Walsh fan, so I'd surely love to do that. But I'll be honest with you, there's an outside chance these ticket prices at the Sphere keep going down for Saturday's event. Yeah. I'll put my son in the car and we'll come up and maybe attend the thing. Where I'm still I'm still fishing to let those prices drop a little bit.
Pro move out of you. What do you like in the NFL this weekend?
NFL. I can tell you, boy, you catch me with a little surprise. I try and avoid Thursdays.
How about that?
And I grabbed Denver at the 3. Now I paid 120 for it. I think it's 2.5 now. So I can't really give that out as a legitimate pick. I hate doing that.
Well, it's fine if it gets back to 3, though.
If it gets back to 3 and there's pressure on it, it's at minus 120. I'd go with that. And this week is your vomitorium picks. If you hate money, you got a shot. And that means, you got to look at Carolina. Yeah, you got to look at Atlanta. Yeah, you got to look at the Arizona Cardinals. If you have enough fortitude to take those pucatorium type of teams, you're going to win money.
Nothing like overreaction to week 1, yeah?
That's exactly what it is. And those numbers have all increased from look ahead a week ago. And everybody's convinced that Carolina can't play and that Pittsburgh's it. And I'm not so sure about any of that. They're down on Atlanta. And so now's the time to get high on Atlanta. Buy low, sell high.
We love you, Uncle Lou. Thanks for the time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, guys. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
There you
go.
Too. Lou Finocchiaro on the Progressive Guest Line. Rapid fire there with the UFC. Might drive in for it. Pretty cool event coming up.
Yeah, once in a lifetime, maybe at that venue. Who knows?
I will take a peek at the Monday night game. Countdown to kickoff now coming up in approximately an hour and a half. We'll run it down for you and follow the money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We're live, downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, Thursday Night Football, big one. Bills on the road against Miami. And oh, by the way, we're going to hang around and do the next hour as well with Tim Murray on VSiN Primetime. We're going to do that every single Monday and Thursday, getting you set for the primetime games in the NFL. And we also have a big one in college football tonight on top of it. Let's look at little anytime, first-time touchdown scorers here. How about first? The Bills scored first 8 of 17 regular season games last year. Dolphins scored first in 10 of their 17 games. Neither team scored first in week 1. For Buffalo a year ago, now this is not in the game, it's the team's first touchdown. For the Bills, Josh Allen scored their first touchdown 5 times last year.
That is offered too, by the way. You can bet first Buffalo touchdown, first Miami touchdown.
That's
score.
huge when you find that stuff.
That's enormous.
Odds will be cut in half, but that makes some sense, right? So Cook and Davis 3 times each. Gabe Davis no longer on the team. Diggs and Latavius Murray, 2 times each, neither guy on the team. Kincaid and Knox only 1 time. Knox scored their first touchdown 3 times in 2022. And for Miami, last year, Tyreek Hill scored the first touchdown for Miami 7 times. Mostert 5. Achane and Wilson did it twice. In 2022, Waddle and Mostert scored the first touchdown 3 times each. There's no Mostert tonight. Hello, Jeff Wilson. So I bet him anytime. I took a very small slice on him for first touchdown as well tonight, but I think I got a bad number on that one.
Yeah.
I think Kincaid gets in tonight. Bet him that way, and I think first touchdown might be in play as well.
I took Jonnu Smith, and I took Barrios' first Dolphin touchdown.
That's you know what? I bet that as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
Could it be Waddle?
I hope not.
No, I hope not.
No, we don't want that.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I will point out, Pauly, that the frustrating thing when you're betting the first touchdown in games like Buffalo, it's the same thing as Philadelphia, right? Because you want to make a case for some of these other guys occasionally, but a lot of times, as I pointed out, Josh Allen scored their first touchdown 5 times last year. And his numbers, he does it so often, his numbers are never juicy enough. It's the same thing as Jalen Hurts. They get down close to the goal line. This year it might be different with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
But it's, hey, the tush-push, get him into the end zone, and that's going to suck any life that you had on some of those tickets.
I'd be careful with Allen, though, also with the hand. So I know it's not the throwing hand, but that's how he got hurt last week. And then the talk about, glove, no glove, what's he going to do with that? That could be something to watch. Maybe it gives him problems, and maybe he doesn't want to run as much, which you think his rushing yards would go over. But I'd tell him kind of cool it, though, to do that. But, as we talked about all show, difficult about who's going to go off here and how many different wide receivers / tight ends are going to catch balls, and then what they're going to do with their yards and what that's going to look like. Hollins and Shakir both scored last week. Now, how about, you want to get a little Matt Collins, huh? You could do that, too.
What is he?
Good price. You want to go first anytime? What do you want?
I'm seeing Shakir 19.
Right. Anytime is 3.
Yeah, okay.
We talked about Charks likes that. And obviously first you're talking 11, 12 to 1 if it's just Bills. But he's now 22 at DraftKings.
Okay.
And where did Hollins go? 35 and 5. That's a DK. Let me look at Circa. 35 and 5. I don't hate your Shakir most yards in the game.
I couldn't find.
You want
earlier.
more than 10?
I want more than 10, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take another peek before the game starts.
Okay.
I think there's an angle there for that to happen. Again, Tyreek Hill's never had more than 82 yards. Does it happen again tonight? Maybe he goes for $130. I don't know. I mean, but the Bills have done a good job against him in 5 previous games, and the way to attack Buffalo is not in the air; it's on the ground. We kind of saw that with Arizona last week. I mean, Marvin Harrison had 1 catch for 4 yards, and Kyler Murray was not any great. Kyler Murray never completed a pass more than 10 yards down the field last week, and Tua completed passes worth 209 yards beyond 10 yards last week. So he led the entire league. I will point out that in terms of overall trend, Steve Makinen has phenomenal numbers like every single week at vsin.com. How about last 64 Thursday night football games, road teams, 31 and 33 straight up, but 36-24 and 2 ATS. I know it's 2.5 tonight. It's going to have to be like the Colts-Texans in week 1. Lose by 2 potentially. In weeks 1 through 8, Thursday night football home teams are 21 and 18 straight up, but 11, 26 and 2 ATS. That's below 30%. And in divisional matchups, Thursday night football home teams are 15 and 14 straight up, but 10 and 19 ATS since the start of the 2019 season, and that is 34.5%. Does it factor in at all tonight? You combine that with Josh Allen's 11 and 2 against Miami in his career.
But
these two teams
stand up, Miami. Come on, got to win this game. Got to. You want to win the division? Get it done. Revenge after what happened last year. They came into your house. You didn't play well, but you held down Allen in the offense. It was decided by the punt return, the special teams.
Yeah.
And this is also on Tua. You're 9-1 ATS against the Jets and Patriots. Let's go.
Yeah, I
win
will
this
say
division,
this.
win this game. You blew the division last year at home. You had to go to Kansas City in the cold, and it didn't go well. Here at Circa, Hollins, by the way, 42-1 first touchdown. No score first 5.5 minutes. No minus 150, 140. No good. I don't like that juice.
I'll point this out. So Jalen Ramsey played in the game last week for the Dolphins. I saw a film guy send out some stuff on Brian Thomas when he was matched up with Jalen Ramsey. It wasn't the whole game, whatever. A couple of highlights.
Is that who beat him on the deep pass?
Oh, Brian Thomas.
When he grabbed him?
Brian Thomas scorched him.
Yeah.
So Jalen Ramsey's not going to be on Shakir tonight. Shakir's going to play in the slot, one would think. So is he going to be on Coleman? Is he going to be on Hollins? And if so, did he lose a step all of a sudden?
Well, he's up there in age.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah,
everyone has a bad game.
Yeah.
He's been beat before. It happens. Michael Jordan didn't make every shot. LeBron doesn't have a great game every time. But I love what he made. I love the fourth down play he made to shut down Jacksonville on fourth down as well. That was excellent. But I'm just going back to, you got to have this one, no doubt. Got to have it game. Sal Pal's right. They've owned you. Total ownage. 10 of 11, 13 of 15. And Allen's 11-2 against you. And, oh, by the way, the loss, they outgained them 500 to 220. Stupid. All-time bad, bizarre result. I'm at home again, get it done.
Pulling up their schedule right now. They go all the way across the country to Seattle in week 3.
Tough, yeah, but it's doable coming up. Go ahead.
Oh, they get Tennessee at home, and then they have to go play at New England. So they win this game tonight. Like 5-0 is absolutely possible. After the bye, they go play at Indy. They get Arizona at home, then at Buffalo and at the Rams. Gets way more difficult after the bye. As for Buffalo, with the win, they'd be sitting at 2-0. They would host Jacksonville in a revenge game from the London game a year ago. Then, how about this? 3 games in a row on the road. At Baltimore, at Houston, at the Jets.
This is who?
That's Buffalo.
Wow.
Okay, looking at that, I would tell you the Bills have to have this game. Jacksonville at home, at Baltimore, at Houston, at the Jets. Oh, by the way, Buffalo, they don't get their bye week until week 12. A monster stretch here because the games before the bye, at Seattle, Miami, at Indy, KC. Oh, they're going to miss the playoffs. They lose this game tonight.
Come on, get the hell out of here.
After the bye, it's the Niners, at the Rams, at Detroit. Whew, man. I think you got to flip it here. GTHI. Got to have it, Buffalo.
That's right. We got to go longest made field goal over 47.5 also.
I'm in.
2 big legs in this game.
I want 50 plus at some plus money.
Yep. Kicker's 22 of 23 in week 1 from 50 yards plus. All right, coming up next, it's us with Tim Murray. We'll preview the game, more props, what we like. We'll do door 1, door 2 with Tim. And Texas State and Arizona State kicking off in half an hour. A 6-point move in this game.
How about that? You want to hop in on some ASU money line right now?
Yes. I think they're just going to run all over them. I like, I got the Texas State Kool-Aid too, but 6-point move.
Let's go
You want to
Scatterbo.
talk about prisoner of the moment. I know they were great last week, but I agree with Tim Murray. San Antonio, it's ugly. What happened to Lamar? You won that game by 7 week 1.
That's right.
That's a fun game coming up, though, at 4:30.
So
Derek Stevens also in studio with Tim.
Our producer, Luke, got ahead of this. He has Texas State money line at even money when ASU was obviously favored. If you're in this spot, you come back and grab the 3 with ASU. You maybe wait in play. You want Texas State to score first and come back and grab some with the Sun Devils. You're in a good spot if you grab them right away. Hence the closing line value here.
I take the 3 because it's...
they could get the ball, go right down the field and score.
That's right. I mean, they're averaging 300 yards rushing a game on the ground. So
we have good college, meaningful college long-term here. Absolutely the same thing could be said for the NFL game. I might actually miss a Friday night NFL game tomorrow, come to think of it. Only once a week? Come on,
idea.
NFL.
The Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
On Labor Day weekend?
That is the nuts.
Okay.
That's how you do it. And you saw they set ratings, record ratings for week 1, too. So
all right.
We're going to add more.
Primetime is next. We're going to hang out, talk more Monday Night Football with Tim Murray here on VSiN.